Starfield stealth builds. How are they going to work? Just like any previous Bethesda game, Starfield is set and shared some of the details on sneaking and stealth, and it looks very similar to Skyrim and Fallout 4. In those games, you could get huge critical multipliers and just absolutely melt everything. Sneaking and stealthing, one-shot warriors were a thing, and I think it's going to be in Starfield as well. Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, and I'm going to share some of the details on how this build could work when Microsoft Bethesda launched this game September 6th. So this is going to be a template of kind of how I foresee making a stealth build based on the pre-release footage. I have a link in the description below for this written guide, and we will update it when the game actually comes out and we get to play it. But like similar Bethesda games, Starfield has a stealth mechanic, and what you see from the trailer footage and some of what's shown is the hidden meter on the top middle part of your bar. It's a very simple UI element that basically ebbs and flows depending on if you're being detected or not. The closer you get to an enemy, the more noise you make and so forth, the more this bar moves out wide and you're going to be detected. The quieter, sneakier, and stealthier you are, the smaller the bar becomes. So it seems like a very simple UI element to tell you, are you stealth or are you not? There's also skills to add to this, but we'll get to that a little bit later. If we were going to build a stealth-based character when we're going to start the game, first thing in the character creator that you encounter is your background choice. So backgrounds allow you to get 3 starting skills, and it's kind of like your character's archetype. NPCs will actually interact with you based on which one you've chosen. So from what's been shown, Cyber Runner is a logical choice. What Cyber Runner is going to allow you to do is get 3 starting skills. One is stealth, one is security, and one is theft. Perfect for a sneaky stealth build to start the game. Next up, we have in the character creator, as we're progressing making this build, we have traits. So traits are optional. You don't have to pick them. You can pick from 1 to 3, and some of them you can't pick if you have another one, like introvert and extrovert. You can't be both. So they're an optional thing that will add on top of your background. Not all of these are known, but one that's interesting that was shown is wanted. While your health is low, this trait gives you a damage buff. The mercenaries will randomly show up and try to kill you. This was given verbally in the reveal in the showcase. So we don't know what percentage health and what type of damage amp you could actually have. But if you were actually playing this and you wanted to get the most damage possible in a one-shot build, what you would do is take this wanted trait and you would essentially tank or lower your health pool to that specific threshold. Let's say it's 25-30% health to get your damage bonus. And if you're stealth hanging out in the shadows anyways, you're not likely to get detected in damage. So this might be a way to take an optional trait to cheese your build and allow you to do big one-shot damage. There's a bunch of others that were shown as well, and we don't have the full list, but what you're going to see is there's going to be multipliers and ways to ramp up your damage along with your backgrounds and traits. Moving on to the skills that we're seeing so far. So since we started out with the Cyber Runner, we're going to get 3 by default: stealth, security, and theft. There's currently 5 skill trees that were shown in all of this footage. There's physical, social, combat, science, and tech. So what was shown in the physical tree, which we already have, was stealth. Another thing about these is they have tiers: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So most likely you're going to have to put skill points in to progress this tier. Once you unlock the skill, you can rank it up 4 different levels to get even more added effects. So we start with the physical tree. What was shown later on was concealment. We got this from actually an NPC adoring fan, which we'll get to in companions a little bit later. So we know the physical tree is going to have at least stealth, which you're going to get if you take Cyber Runner, and it's going to have concealment as their 4th tier physical ability. So for a stealth build, you can build towards weapons or you can build towards melee martial combat if you want, using knives to sneak up on opponents or sitting back doing snipes. Now, if we take a look at the social tree, this is obviously the persuasion, intimidation, leadership, and so on. One that's in kind of an obvious choice for a stealther is intimidation. So that's going to allow you to basically strike tier and influence and basically have enemies and NPCs run away, avoiding battles. Your biggest issue with stealth builds in previous Bethesda games is essentially avoiding encounters that require you to get in close, not allowing you to sneak and stealth. So it might be a good idea to rank this up, either taking persuasion or intimidation, so that way if you are in a dialogue in a close quarters situation where you can't get away, you're able to intimidate or persuade, get in stealth, and engage on your terms. Next, we have combat, and this is probably going to be the meat and potatoes of what you're going to do. In the first beginning rank, you have ballistics, dueling lasers, pistol certification, and shotgun. Most likely at the beginning to mid part of the game, you're going to be using ballistic weapons, so this is kind of a no no-brainer. As you advance through the trees, in the second rank, we have rifle certification. This is perfect for a hanging back sniping type of build. And further on down the list into tier 3, we did see sniper certification. So perfect for a stealth build if you want to hang back and snipe. And they actually showed gameplay footage of using snipe and stealth in conjunction. Basically, nuke a target at far range and not get detected. Moving on to science, and that's up next. You're probably going to shy away from this tree specifically, but there's a lot of crafting in it. So we don't know everything yet, but something that stuck out to me is the third tier science skill, chemistry. So you can create and improve chems and research additional chems at research labs. So chems or chemistry was heavy into Fallout 4, giving you basically consumable items that gave you incredible buffs, but also had some effects like addiction and negative effects that would go along with it. I'm assuming we're going to get more of the same here in Starfield since this was revealed and shown. Not a lot is known about the chems in the game, but you can reasonably assume there's going to be consumables that amplify your damage and may or may not come with a downside. And last but not least, we have the tech tree. So we're probably going to shy away from this using a stealth sniper build. But from what was shown that's kind of interesting is boost pack training. This will increase and help you use your jetpack. This will be essential, unlike Fallout 4, to getting away. That is your main downside of using sneak and stealth. When you get discovered or you're in an engagement where you can't dictate the fight, how are you going to get away, evade, and basically re-engage when you see fit? I imagine taking this tier 1 boost pack might be the way to solve that problem. Also, you get a bunch of different things in here like security, targeting, control system, payload, robotics, and so on. What was shown also in the footage is the ability to board ships. You actually need to take a skill within a skill tree to target specific components on the ship to neutralize them and board them. While not directly related to stealth and sneak, just be aware that that's going to be a part of the game if you want to play that style at endgame. All right, so we talked a lot about the skills, but what about weapons? Well, I'm glad you asked. So it looks like weapons are going to have 5 components that you can essentially modify from what we've seen. Receiver, internal, optic, mag and battery, and muzzle. Muzzle being the obvious one for silencer. Silencer was shown heavily in the footage, and you actually can nuke a whole room without anyone notice and detecting you. There's also 3 broad types of weapons that were shown: physical, energy, and electromagnetic. Think of physical as ballistic type weapons. Think of energy as essentially lasers, and EM weapons or electromagnetic is most likely going to be the super high-powered endgame weapons. They also showed some detailed information on armor-piercing rounds, which will be heavily important for taking and selecting your specific weapons. So AP rounds essentially penetrate armor. From the footage, you've seen silver or grayish bars above a red health bar. It seems like you have to either penetrate that outright or take it out with your weapon. You also see some robots that didn't have any health bars, they just had the gray bar above their head. So most likely at end to mid game, you're going to need to equip a weapon that has AP rounds in case you get into this. You also see explosive rounds in the mod selection screen as well. I like this in Fallout 4 because it usually knocked opponents down. So specifically at range, if I'm getting pressured or I need a knockdown to basically peel back, use my jetpack and get away, this is a good choice. You can have more than one weapon equipped at a time. In fact, you can have a lot of them. So a logical progression would be essentially use a pistol with a silencer when you're in close range, a rifle for sort of a mid-range combat situation, using a sniper for long-range situations, specifically exploring worlds with wide open spaces and eliminating targets before you get close in. Armor was shown, and what you have with armor is 3 specific slots: spacesuits, packs, and helmets. You also had apparel, but we don't know if that's going to affect performance or not. Armor also had damage reduction and resistances for physical, energy, and electromagnetic. You also saw resistances to environmental effects as thermal, airborne, corrosive, and radiation. So not much is currently known. You also did get to see a legendary item drop. It had technician, hacker, and incendiary. We don't know the entire list of traits and perks. Most of these will be at random, most likely, with some probably being locked into the story, giving you specific ones. Another thing you're going to have to factor in your build is companions. So they come with their own individual set of skills, combat and non-combat related. We saw the Adoring Fan talents in the top right corner during the reveal, and it showed concealment, which he had right away, which is a very high-ranking skill that you can get using this companion. Just like Fallout and Skyrim, companions can sometimes kind of screw up your stealth and silence. But if they come with these skills right away, picking the right one, specifically that Adoring Fan, might be very useful at the start or later on in the game. Another good one that was shown was Sam Coe. He had rifle certification. Looks like he plays at range too. So if you're gonna hang out and do the sniping at range, he could be a good companion to pick up. But remember, companions vital to your builds. So Starfield builds are starting to shake out. I'm looking into more and more, whether it's melee, demolition, so on and so forth. And we're gonna have a lot of these builds outline how they could work on the website, Deltiasgaming.com. We're also gonna have a build editor, StarfieldBuilder.com. This is essentially gonna allow you to actually create and share your own build. It's in the early infancy stages. If you want a place to go edit and share your builds, StarfieldBuilder.com. Make sure to bookmark it. If you got something out of this video and want me to show and reveal a little bit more about different builds in Starfield, like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to keep on making it, and I can't wait for September 6th when this launches. Thanks for watching.